emergency paid sick leave, the EPSL, and the emergency family and medical leave, the EFMLA. The CAA does not extend employers' obligation, which would be us to extend those. However, it does contain provisions that employees, we could voluntarily carry those over for unused portions. Now, the caveat here is for those that are carried over, the government, that you would get a tax credit under the FFCRA. Unfortunately, schools do not qualify because we do not pay taxes. So there is no benefit of extending that. So it would be my recommendation that Manistee area schools do not extend the employer obligations under the FFCRA because the district will not benefit through this. I do want to let you know that what we've done is for any staff member that has been either quarantined or isolated due to exposure within our building, we will continue to pay those employees if the exposure occurred within our building. So that is not going to change. And finally, I would like to thank our board, because January is Board Appreciation Month. I'd like to thank you all for all that you do for our students and staff. Unfortunately, we're not able to meet in person, but when we do at our next board meeting, there will be a little something special. So I want to thank you all for what you have done and what you continue to do.
Howard, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Regarding all those wonderful acronyms, the FFCRA
Yes.
stuff. And I have to read it to know what it says, but you talked about paying the teachers if they're exposed in our school. I'm assuming, but I'm just clarifying that if a teacher is exposed outside of school, but they're able to teach virtually, because I believe that happened this fall with some teachers.
It's happened quite often. So yes, sick time would not be taken from them.
Okay. I was assuming, but just wanted to hear it.
Stacy, I think they're turning the lights off on you.
I know.
And I had cookies made for the board members, but sorry, I couldn't bring them in.
Did you eat them all?
Working on it.
Okay. Don't let them go to waste.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Administrative reports, Mr. Shiner.
Thank you. I will do my best to break down the alphabet soup that this report wound up being with lots of acronyms. I realize that we have board members that may or may not be familiar with it all. So if there's anything on here that I did not cover or explain well enough, please let me know. So normally I start out with an update of what's going on with the multi-tier system of support. And that is because that is one of our charges at the district level, is to keep the board informed as to how we're trying to support the students. Normally you don't see the / school improvement next to it, but recently we have joined the two teams, both school improvement and the multi-tier system of support, which is long overdue. So in terms of the multi-tier system of support, we did our best to go over expectations for behaviors. Teachers did it in the classrooms. And then I took students into the auditorium and when necessary or when identified, talked about behaviors that were germane to that group that needed some talking about, or if the group did not have a lot of discipline reports, as a couple of the classes don't, we spent time going over the survey that the kids filled out in terms of the distance learning, what they thought worked and what they thought did not work. It was very telling It was nice for them to speak openly and honestly with me about what they thought about the strengths and weaknesses of how we performed. So that was on the 5th and 6th of January. There was a district improvement team meeting on the 6th. That was largely organizational. At the district improvement team level, that's Jennifer, John, Howard, Eric, Jill, and Kathy Clays. And if I'm missing anybody, Howard or Jennifer, please speak up. On the 7th, I had a staff leadership team. The main things we discussed were the union of the school improvement process and the business of the staff leadership team. As I said in the past, we oftentimes had these two things moving forward that were essentially had the same goal. And so with initiatives through the ISD, this process is being streamlined. So it's one process, and it makes a lot of sense. So we talked about the logistics of that. And likewise, we analyzed some data. On your report, it does say SWISS. Please, there's only SWIS. That stands for a school-wide information system for the board members that may not be aware what that means. That is the data system that we use to enter student behaviors as recognized going against the student code of conduct. And it's one of the things we look for, data patterns. And then likewise, we also talked about the student surveys for the distance learning and how we plan to share that with the staff tomorrow at a staff meeting. On the 14th, we did a district capacity assessment. And in general, that is the district team members looking at the health in which we are installing or continuing to support the multi-tier system of support. It's a series where each member ranks 0, 1, 2, or 3. And then we have to discuss on how well we're doing with each of those areas that is rated. Likewise, related to the multi-tier system of support and the school improvement, we have an early warning indicator data poll coming up on January 22nd. If the board remembers or recalls, we are part of and continue to be part of a pilot program because we are fortunate to have Mary Hook on board with us, who is able to, we kind of piloting this for the state along with some other schools as they get closer to using this and making schools commit to using a multi-tier system of support. They want to have the indicators ready for teams to analyze, and we continue to use it with our team to help identify students that are in need. February PD coming up. We are going to revisit text summarization, which is a tier 1 reading strategy. We are going to complete the SRSSIE, which is a student risk screening scale for internal and externalization. And this is just another screening tool. But whereas a lot of the data that we look at when we match up kids to support systems is hard data, a lot of the SRSSIE deals with perceptions that staff have of kids, the way they act, and it kind of quantifies it. So it's a little bit, I don't want to say controversial, but it is being looked at the MDE right now, whether it's going to be continued. There's they think there's bias in it. I happen to think it's a very good tool, and we're going to use it again at the next staff meeting. And then we're going to, I know this is only 3 hours we had with the staff, and so maybe this is a little bit ambitious. We're also going to do some grade level meetings towards the end there, where we're going to look at Swiss data, Ames Web data, which Superintendent Parmentier just talked about, the collection of data that we use in terms of academics. Fluency, comprehension, and basic math skills is our Ames Web. And then, as I explained to you, we're going to look at our early warning indicator data. And all of this is done with a means to identify kids that need different forms of support through the multi-tier system of support. I attended a My Data Hub webinar on the 13th. It was largely attended. About 300 educators from across the state were on this Zoom session. Largely, they talked about assessments moving forward. And I have not seen this in writing, but I did hear the following, that the assessments coming up in the fall, if they happen, are going to be used for non-punitive measures. They're going to be more aimed at looking at the gaps that may have been caused by the distance learning as it rolled out differently across the state. If that is the case, I would be in favor of it, although I still believe it is a large endeavor to do something that we're already doing internally. We're already looking at our gaps with our Ames Web, and Jennifer uses a different one at Emerald Elementary. So there is a meeting tomorrow with principals across the state, and we're going to be at least Region 1, and we're going to be talking about giving our opinion on state standardized tests this school year. During that webinar, we also talked about data collection and how it will be used with My Data Hub. And last but not least, the adherence of state and federal guidelines with the collection and sharing of data was also part of that webinar. And then not long enough is the part that you want to talk about is the student supports and updates. And at the time I wrote this was true, but Howard, you may tell me now that this is not true. Winter sport practices and competitions have started. I know the practices have started, but since I wrote this, I think they have pushed the competition starting to the beginning of February. And finally, semester exams are coming up this week on 2021 and 22. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, for Emerald now, please. Jennifer.
Hey, okay, so first of all, thank you guys very much for your help and dedication on the board. I do have a bunch of cards that students have made for you, and obviously you'll get those the next time they see you. We did have our building leadership team meeting, which is similar to John's as far as the MTSS. We went over our anonymous building survey, and I'll do a screen share in a minute to show you that. Our next building leadership team meeting will be to discuss data and do a data review of our recent Acadience testing. So similar to John using the Ames Web, we use Acadience, and mainly that testing is completed as long as students were not absent. The distance learners, Amy Calouette has really helped us return many of our distance learners back to school. We did call, this building secretary and I called all of the other distance learners to find out where they're at, and we are going to have a total of 14 distant learners for the next parking period, which, I mean, for us is really good. We started out with 48 in the beginning of the year, and it is a challenge for our students to be distant learners. The Tier 3 reading update, we are in the process of administering the Acadience benchmark testing. Based on the scores that we have so far, most students are showing growth overall. You know, I think probably just like what John is seeing, it is lower than what we'd like, but you know, due to the shutdown, whatever, but everyone is showing growth. The behavior reward days are set for the end of this week. And at the time I wrote this, we had 3 students who were not able to participate. Now I think that we have 5. So I was going to share this with you. Yeah, no, can you wait? Share screen. Okay. So I just wanted to go over with you a few of these. I actually made, you know, I had them printed and stuff for you before I realized that we were going to be online for this meeting. But this was an anonymous staff survey, mainly regarding distant learning and technology. So do you think the distant learning students are receiving the same or better learning opportunities? Most people chose less. And then in the comments, as you can imagine, you know, in the lower elementary, we do a lot of hands-on activities. They also receive immediate correction during small groups. Distant learners are not able to take part in small group stations. And I think it's probably what you would expect as far as working with our youngest learners in a distant learning capacity. So then, how much time would you say that you are helping distant learners? It has increased the amount of plan time needed. Do you feel the amount of technology that we have is meeting their needs? Only 9% chose no, so I feel like that's really good. We are still waiting on the kindergarten, first grade computers that are on back order. So hopefully that will help a little bit. What we could do to help support them, we have been getting, we do go through a process as far as contacting the distant learners, especially if they start doing poorly. I will contact them if I can't get through after a few times of talking with them. We usually refer to Amy Gallowette. So we are really trying to get the distant learners back in school for the most part. For us, if they don't have very on-board parents, it's probably not going to work. Then do you think their COVID plan was adequate? Most people chose yes. Most of our staff was very supportive of the recess separation. We do have all the recesses separated by class. And that is really helping. And I think it also helps with our behavior referrals as well. And then we also have kind of like a zone set up as far as the kids are concerned. Like the K1 kids basically stay downstairs and the upstairs kids stay upstairs, and that's been helping as well. Suggestions that staff had, redistribute the COVID plan, more PPE and cleaning supplies. Students are not wearing their masks at times, and that is, we've been reteaching on that. Communication, most staff felt that the communication has increased. Staff feels that, there's different things that we've done that have increased the communication. And I did make, like I say, I did make copies of that so that you guys can read the comments and so forth. And I do think, this is kind of that actually 36% of teachers felt their overall job enjoyment has decreased due to COVID. It's kind of what you would expect. And then, let's see the other one. Then I guess the rest of these you can look at as you are able to, because I did, like I say, I did make copies of them, which I'll make sure that I get to you. There was one on here about staff unity increasing, so I think that was really good, especially this time when we are working with COVID and everyone's doing multiple different tasks at the same time.
The link that was in your report does work if anybody.
Oh, it does?
wants to-
Okay,
Yep,
good.
you can get to the survey.
Okay, good, because I wasn't sure, and then I wasn't sure with you guys being online today, how that would work. But basically, we did have the printout of the referrals, which we went over with our MTSS meeting. And we are down in all of our categories with referrals. But again, a lot of that we feel is due to the recess separation and then separating the kids by zones as well. Do you guys have any questions?
I'm just curious, do you think everybody's on board for continuing that even when we lighten up the COVID issues?
The separate recesses, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's something that everybody has remarked has worked really well. I mean, I guess I would say from my standpoint, it's definitely a staffing issue with the K2 recess because it is seven aides at lunch. And then of course at the regular recesses, we have teachers available to us on the recess schedule. But definitely I have been doing a lot of lunches because, you know, if we have a staff member out, then that, for example, we have a staff member out, then the aide is going to that room. And so it is a staffing issue at the K2 lunch. And I think in the future, I would, you know, we'd look at that. But everybody seems to really like the recess supervision model that we have right now.
Makes sense.
Thanks.
Thank you. Mrs. Hook, anything?
I just wanted to mention a couple of things. Next week, we have a Pixelot system that's going into our gym and over to our stadium. And what the Pixelot system is a camera system that will allow us to stream all of our games. And you can subscribe to the, I'll never get the acronym right, but it's the NFHS network. And you would be able to see our athletic events that are in our gym or over at our football field. That's just getting set up next week. And then they said about 3 days for activation, and we would be able to sell advertising on it. So we'd be able to generate a little revenue stream from it, as well as be able to easily have all of those games streamed from here on forward. And then graduation, if we ever do have it back in the gymnasium, those types of events are streamed for free. So the other thing is we upgraded our camera system in the high school. It's the same as what's over at Emerald, so we're on the same system. It makes it really nice. It's a very nice system, and it also gives us the capacity to add cameras. We have like 90 cameras or so at at the high school, and we were at capacity, so we couldn't add any more with what we had. And then finally, in the library business has been picking up. I think people are getting more and more comfortable coming out and using our facility. We still are not overwhelmed, so it's been nice to see all the people coming in the door now, and instead of just going to the curb. So that's all I have.
Carrie, I
Yeah.
have a question.
Yep.
With the new system for playing sporting events in the gym or the football field, is that a subscription where the community members, if they wanted to watch, they would have to pay?
Yes, there is a paid subscription to it. It's not huge, but it is a paid subscription to be able to watch it on that system. Any other questions? But that's it.
It doesn't look like we have any other supervisors on. So now we are at board reports and requests.
Okay, I can jump in here, Ray. On January 5th, the Finance Committee meeting met regarding the Fairview Bus Garage and the possible use of that facility for like a short-term storage. It was discussed that I may have an interesting party who is interested in purchasing it, but that would not be until the spring. So the committee discussed the possibility of using it as a short-term rental for as long as we are holding on to it. Discussions during that committee meeting was that we would use the $9 a linear foot. And due to the size of the Fairview Bus Garage, to start, it would be for administrative staff, and then there's room to then allow other staff to see how much room we have there, because it is only 2 bus stalls. So correct me if I'm wrong, committee, but it is the recommendation that the committee is going to make, that for this year to use it as a short-term storage.
That's it. Did we have any other committee meetings? I think that's it.
That's it.
Okay. All right, we're on to action items. The first one is to approve Donna's position as performing duties of treasurer and secretary.
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. Okay. The next one, Donna, can we do these next ones since they're all on one page? Can we do them all together?
I don't see why not. Go for it.
Okay, signatories, depositories, publications of records, and legal counsel are all listed on one sheet in the board packet. Can I have a motion to approve those for 2021?
I'll make that motion as well. I just had to find it.
I'll second it. Do we have to make an announcement on who it is? I know it's the same as last year, but do we have to say who each one is for?
You don't have to in the motion, as long as you just say as presented, and then when I do the minutes, I've got all that information.
Okay. I second it.
All right. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Are there any opposed? Okay. Thank you. Well done. Got a few things ticked off there. So now we're going to review and approve the December 2020 financial report. That 27-page long document.
Yeah,
Go, Donna.
lots of numbers. And this is the month that it's at an all-time low, but that's an annual deal and we should not panic. The expenditures are $3,834,918 and the revenues are $2,041,355 for a deficit of $1,793,563. But the tax revenues are starting to come in, the state aid is starting to come in, and we're going to catch up and go into the black. Hopefully next month, but if not, for sure the month after. Are there any questions?
Is there a motion, please?
I move we approve the December 2020 financial report.
Thank you.
Second.
All right. Any more discussion? Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. All right. Now we are going to approve that alphabet soup thing, or actually approve not doing it. The FFCRA.
So I'll quickly jump in again. It would allow for the extension of the FFCRA. However, it would be a tax credit only and schools are not able to get that tax credit. So there would be no benefit to the school by extending it.
So just to be clear, we are voting for non-extension. So yes means we don't want to extend it.
Thank you for clarifying. I was wondering if we're supposed to say nay if.
I I move we approve the non-extension of the FFCRA.
I second.
All right, any questions or discussion? All in favor of not extending the programs, say aye.
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 All right, any opposed? Okay. Okay, next one is the second reading of, and now the adoption of the social media policies from Neola.
And it was also technology, Ray. There's some technology in social.
Oh, okay.
media.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
I move we approve the second reading of the social media and technology policy discussed last month.
Second.
Thank you. Does anybody need a refresher?
Maybe since we have a new member, quick
Although
summary.
Mary, you were there last month. Did
Oh.
did you understand anything about?
I do not have it in front of me, so my gosh. I don't,
No, different Mary. Mary Hitt.
oh, sorry.
But yes, you did help us with the technology information. All right.
I can try to quickly go over it. I got to find my notes here, but if you'd like me to go over it again, I can.
I'm
You can do
okay with
the-
it. I'm sorry, guys. My phone just keeps muting you guys. I'm sorry about that.
I guess, Mary, if you do have a question, you're more than welcome to come in and we can sit down and go through the information.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, because my phone just keeps muting you guys out. I apologize for that. No, I'm good. I actually have the policy right in front of me. I actually reviewed it.
All right.
Thank you, Mary.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, boy, we got a problem because you're both Mary H's.
Mary 2.0.
Okay, so all in favor of approving the second reading of the policies for social media and technology, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes. All right, the next one is to approve the reconfirmation of the MAS Extended COVID-19 Learning Plan. This is our monthly update and approval.
So just a quick, as we're going through, as Ms. Boyle and Mr. Shiner have actually been making phone calls to our students. Currently for this week, we are at 90 distance learners. Talking with Ms. Boyle and Mr. Shiner, I believe that number is going to go down, which is great. I think we all agree that butt in seat is a preferred method of instruction. I do need to open this up for public comment, which would be how instruction is being delivered. It can be whether it's distance learning or student in seat. So if anybody has any public comment over the extended COVID-19 learning plan, please unmute yourself, or you are welcome to use the chat.
And this plan is also on the transparency, under the transparency button on the websites, right?
Yes. Any comments? Okay. Back to you, Ray.
All right, we need a motion, please.
I move we approve the reconfirmation of the MAS Extended COVID-19 Learning Plan.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Thank you. That one passes. Next one is to approve the Fairview Bus Garage usage proposal. As Mr. Parmentier said, that is for short-term storage at $9 a linear foot.
I
And
move
Ray,
we-
I don't know if I had mentioned, but I thought I did, that it would be for MASA staff only. So
Right.
it did say administrative staff and then to the rest of the staff. So it would never be opened up to the public.
Right.
I move we approve the Fairview Bus Garage usage proposal.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? That passes. Next one is to approve a 7th grade girls basketball coach for the school year.
The applicant that we received was Mr. Gunnar Mickelson, who has coached in other sports for our district.
Is there a motion?
I
I
move
move
we
we-
approve Gunnar Mickelson as the 7th grade girls basketball coach for the 2021 school year.
I got you both. Is there any discussion? All in favor of Gunnar Mickelson as the 7th grade girls basketball coach, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All righty. The next one is approve the professional development and training on virtual learning document.
So in the packet that was sent out, we had to identify the different professional developments for staff, for parents, and what was done for students. In the staff professional development, since the beginning of this year, there have been 8 professional developments that have dealt with how to instruct online or relating to online instruction, as well as trainings for staff to be able to Zoom those. Since the beginning of the year, we've had 5 opportunities for parents to either come into the building or join via Zoom to receive training to help their students. And for our students, the teachers have worked with them since the beginning of the year to get them ready for if and when they had to go distance learning.
I
Need a
move we
motion?
approve. I move we
Okay.
approve the professional development and training on virtual learning document.
Second.
All right, any discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 That passes, thank you. Next one, now we get into some housekeeping. The dates and locations of our regular meetings for 2021. Did everybody see the updated version that Donna sent this afternoon? We're the 3rd Monday of every month except for June and July. And those months are the last Monday.
And that eliminates our 2 meetings in June, is that correct?
Well, we found out this year we could do it with one.
Yeah. That's good.
Is there a motion?
I move we approve the dates and locations of regular meetings for 2021.
Second.
Any discussion? I just want to throw out one thought that came up on a CBA class that I was in on, and that is, while we don't have a lot of buildings to move around to, that there might be some benefit in perhaps meeting at Emerald when we can actually be in the building. But I don't think we have to establish that now. We could do that in the announcements of the meetings as they come up.
To add to that, Ray, I know the ISD, at least once a year, they hold their meeting at the Learning Center, one of their school buildings. And I don't know if they ever do it in the CTE wing or if it's always in the board room, but they have it off-site at least once. And a question or a thought is, I guess it's already next month. Is the 15th a day of no school President's Weekend for February? Or do we want to have a board meeting on the same day as a no school day? I'm just throwing it out there.
The 15th is a no school day because it was built into the calendar for a snow day to
Recovery day.
snow days if we had used. So
I know it's President's Weekend. If there's no school, I don't know if board members.
Yeah, we've had meetings on days where there was scheduled to not be school before.
Does anybody find that difficult to meet? All righty. So we have the motion. Are we ready to approve the calendar? All in favor of the calendar as presented, the second draft of the calendar as presented? Say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Committee assignments for 2021. You got a proposed listing of all of the assignments that are listed on the agenda. There was in the original packet, you had the assignments from currently and then the proposed ones for going into 2021. Those reflect the committees that you said you wanted to be on. So if there's any changes or anybody wants to switch around, speak up. Okay, I need a motion to approve these assignments.
I move we approve the assignments.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Everybody's good with where you're put? Fine. All right, all in favor of the committee assignments for 2021, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes. Very good. All right, we come to our second public comment period. Is there any public comment on any topics? Any public comment? Does anyone want to make public comment? You can put it in the chat or you unmute yourself. All right, thank you. Next, we need to go to a closed session.
I move we go into closed session.
Second.
All in favor of us moving over to closed section, say aye. Session.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you to the public for participating.